Hi there, it's Donna from Taffy Crafting. We've got Share It on a Sunday again. So this is where myself, this might be the first time you come across me, this is where myself, Crafty Karen Designs and Vicky Lou Designs get together and we set each other challenges each week. And this week, I can't remember who set this challenge. Victoria, I think. Yes, Victoria set this one, and it was to make a project using a retiring product. And this bundle retires at the end of May or first couple of days of June. So this is available as a photopolymer stamp set. So it's got the cake stand. You've got 6 different types of cake there, all of which are just ideal for colouring. And I've got some blends handy here, ready for colouring. And then we've got some lovely sentiments here. So we've got a Mr. and Mrs., which is nice for an anniversary or a wedding cake. I'm going to... no, I haven't used it yet, but I will be using the happy birthday sentiment. You've got some flowers here that you can put on top of the cake. You know, a really lovely stamp set with the coordinating punch. So I'm going to make a project using that. I've already got it half done just to save a little bit of time. So I've got a piece of... what I started off with was with a piece of A4 Flirty Flamingo, and then on the short side I cut it in half at 8 1/4. So I've got one piece there for another card, and then I took, with that long piece, I then scored it down the long side at 5 7/8, and then I took 2 inches off the bottom. Let me show you how I did it rather than me trying to explain it. I'll do it with this one because I can make another card out of this. So here's your piece of card measuring 4 1/8 by 11 3/4. Get your cutting blade out of the way, and we're going to score at 5 7/8. And then what I want to do, I'm going to turn it round. Could have done that either end, I don't know why I just did that. I'm going to take 2 inches off the bottom, so put one end in up to the 2 inches and lock that off. And then the next thing I'm going to do, there's probably an easier way of doing this, but I'm just going to put my... I'll turn this way actually, and I'm going to put my score line at 2. Push that up there, it doesn't have to be exact. Score line at 2, and then take that bit off. So that's what you're left with. You're going to have that at the bottom of your card, so put that to one side. That measures 2 inches by 4 1/8. Put that to one side, don't lose it. Then you're left with that bit. So just put that to one side, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with the rest of this. So that's what I've got. So what's going to happen is we'll put that there, and we're going to join it with our spare piece. So there's your card, and there is our other piece that's going to sit like that, and we're going to join it together. So just with this piece at the moment, which measures 4 1/4, 4 1/8 by 2. Get a piece of Whisper White, and this will measure 4 by 1 7/8, and we're going to stick that on there. And what happens, the white card in this project makes the colours pop. So this is Flirty Flamingo cardstock I'm using from the Brights collection. The piece of Whisper White, and then this comes from the Brights designer paper stack 6 by 6, and I've cut that to measure 1 3/4 by 3 7/8, and then I'm just going to layer it up. And what that white layer underneath does is just make the pink of this Flirty Flamingo pop out more. Let's just glue that up at the back and layer that on. You can use any adhesive you want there. So that's our bottom piece. just going to put that to one side while it dries. So now I need to decorate this piece, and I've got exactly the same. I've got a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and again that measures 1 7/8 by 4 inches. So I'm going to put some glue on that. Stick that on there. Oops, that moved. And then I've got another piece of this exactly the same, which is 1 3/4 by 3 7/8. And I'm going to pop that piece on there. And then it's going to be joined with this that at the moment is just flapping about. It's not joined onto anything, but it will be. So just put those to one side. So there's your leftover piece. And what I did was I rounded it. And then I trimmed down a piece of Whisper White for it to sit in there. I'll tell you the measurements of that. And they're a bit funny. I trimmed it down so that it would fit. But that measures just a little bit under 4 inches by 1 5/8. And I did just end up having to trim it just to get it to fit. And I'm just going to stick that down. Now, the next piece, I made a slight error in the measurement of it. You'll see in a moment. And I was absolutely kicking myself when I did that because I had no spare of it. So then I've got another piece of this. Now this measures, what does it measure? It measures 1 5/8, 3 5/8, but it should be a bit more than that. It really should be a little bit bigger, but it is what it is. The width of that is 1 1/2. Okay, so if that white piece, let me just get that right for you. If that white piece is just under 4, then that needs to be just over 3 3/4. You're going to have to trim it as to best you can get it, but you're forming that layer. And at the end of the day, if it is a little bit short, it's a little bit short. I don't think anybody's going to be measuring your lines and things. You know, it could be, well, that's how you intended it to be. So there you are. So there's that. And what that's going to do when we stick it to this is hold those two pieces together. I just think that white really brings out the pink in that cardstock. So next up is, this is where the punch and the stamp come into play. Now I've already punched and stamped and punched my cake. So there's my cake stand, and there is my cake. So what I've got is pink icing with white icing running over it. So let me just show you how that works. I'm not just going to go, oh, there you are, that's what it does. So I've picked that cake again, and I'm going to be using crumb cake to stamp. So I'm going to put that. That didn't stamp very well, so I didn't ink it up very well. So just stamp like that. And then I'll get the cake stand stamp out. Put it on my block. So there's my cake stand and my cake. Take your punch, and I do these separately. So I'm going to push the cake into there, line it up. You can colour it first if you want to, it doesn't matter either way. But line it up and punch, and then I always do the cake stand separately. It's very difficult to do the two together. So you can colour them first, or you can colour them after you've punched them. So I've already coloured mine up, and I've used the light crumb cake to colour the cake stand, and I've used light flirty flamingo in the Stampin' Blends for the cake. Just put those to one side for a second. Now I want to put these on here using Stampin' Dimensionals, or the mini dimensionals. And as always, there they are, underneath something. I'm going to put the cake stand on first, and I want that to be just slightly lower than central. So I'm just going to put 2 on there where they'll fit. Line them up. The great thing about gingham paper is that you've got lines to line it up. Makes life a whole lot easier. Let's put that on there like that. And then just a couple of, let's put 4 on here. Let's live dangerously. And then what I'm going to do is just get that in the centre there. Make sure they're sort of touching. And there we are. There's your cake on top of your stand. Now, you need to get this to line up. This is the tricky bit. And take your time over it. Decide where you want to put it. And then try not to move it. Now there's the other advantage with gingham, is that you can line them up. Now, what you can do is put liquid glue at the top, or you could use dimensionals and then get it to be raised up slightly, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put 4 here for the top. Right, that just doesn't want to go. Thank you. And then 4 on the bottom. So I'm going to line that up. And I think what I'll do first is line it up here. So I am going to use those gingham lines, and I'm going to line that up there like that. I can't get my head over this, otherwise you get to see the top of my head. But before you let that bit drop down onto the other bit of card, just get it super, super lined up as best you can, and then drop it down. And then let those dimensionals attach onto that. And then it's going to sit like that. Now what I want to do is put some white card inside so that we've got our sentiment here. So I need a piece of white card just so that it will fit in there. So this is 5 7/8 inches. So I think if I just had a piece that was 4 inches, yeah, I would just do 4 inches square, would be absolutely fine. So let's get my trimmer. Oh, goodness, my desk is just completely cluttered. So 4 inches by 4 inches. That will fit quite nicely in there, just as a nice square to put on our sentiment. just in like that. And I'm looking at it thinking, no, that doesn't look right. That needs to be bigger. So just scrabbling around for another piece of white card. Of which I have loads, but just trying to find the right size. Let's do that again. So 4 inches. Sorry, the table wobbles when I'm scoring and cutting, by 5 3/4. Now, what I'm going to do is get rid of that one and put that in there. And before I stick it down, I want to see roughly where this is going to be. And I want to just put the tiniest of pencil marks into the centre there. And I don't think you're going to see that after it's been stamped. Well, I hope not anyway. So I'm going to pick out another stamp set that's retiring. And it's Delightful Day, which is just a beautiful, beautiful stamp. I love it. I don't know why, there is something about this stamp. I've used it so many times. You can tell I've used it so many times. I'm going to see if that fits in there. And it absolutely does. And I've got to get this spot on. Absolutely spot on. Right, what colour do I stamp it in? I imagine I should do it in Flirty Flamingo, shouldn't I? But I don't think I will. I think we're going to do it in black. I want it to really stand out. So I've got 2 chances at this. 1, 2. So we'll see how this goes. So at the moment, just while I'm loading up the ink on this, I am trying to build up my YouTube following. So I would love to be able to do live YouTubes rather than continuously having to film and upload. So at the moment, I'm just short of 900 subscribers and I need 1,000 to be able to do YouTube lives. So if you've come and found me today and you're not subscribed, and this is the sort of thing that you like doing, then come and subscribe. Come and join me. Okay, so I'm going to get this as far over here as possible. And I'm going to just do it. That's come out nice. I love this stamp. I think it's lovely. Right, moment of truth. We put that in there. Brilliant. I'm just, if you could see me, my face is going, yes, I did it. Right, let's get some glue on the back of this and get this project finished. Sit that in the middle of the card there, right as centrally as we possibly can. And then there's still room here for somebody to write the sentiment so that when it's sat on a mantelpiece or something, the sentiment's not really going to be seen. So there we go. With the minimal of effort, just layer up some card, use your leftovers, so what you've punched out or what you've taken out of here, you're then turning on its side to attach the two together. Stick your sentiment on. That's kind of screaming out to be coloured in, but that would be up to you. And there you go. The only thing I would do different is my cake is a little bit crooked. So I would just probably next time spend a little bit more time getting that absolutely straight. But I hope you like it. That was 20 minutes making that from start to finish. So for a special birthday card, that's ideal. You could even put another sentiment along here if you wanted to. So I hope you like it. I'll be back again soon with another project. I'll see you then. Bye bye.